So today I'm going to embark on this journey or allow you to come on this journey with me as I talk about dating with kids. Parents, mothers, fathers, it is so important the type of people that we decide to date. It is so important that we consider our children inside of these selections, because the people that we decide to date, those relationships could one day lead to marriage. And if you have children, your children will also be included in this whole package deal. So it is so important to consider your kids when you are embarking on this journey of dating. And I know as for me, I think it is something that mothers really have to examine and be so mindful of, especially if you have daughters. You have to really consider the type of man you're going to date, because that man one day may become the stepfather or the father to your kids, and he will be playing a vital role in your kids' life. So I think it is so important that we consider our children when we start in these new relationships, or whatever we want to call it, a dating cycle, whatever. It's so important the role your kids will play in this too. I remember so clearly the day that my oldest daughter asked me when she was going to meet the man that I was dating. And I had been very careful with how I dated, because like I said, I know we don't always think it does, but it does. Our dating does impact our kids. And as for me, I did not want to push anybody off on my kids. I wanted them to be at a place that they would be comfortable with meeting someone. So I said, well, do you think you are ready to meet him? And she said, yes, I think I'm ready. She actually stood there for a moment, and I think she thought about the question that I had asked her, and she almost looked at me as though she was surprised that she had an option, or that she even had a say in the matter. Because like I said, I never wanted to force anyone on my children, or my children on anyone. And I think for me, I wanted to be very strategic in my dating with my kids. And for that reason, I did not date while they were younger or in high school. I actually waited until they were just about grown before I even got back in the arena of dating. Yep, you heard me correctly. My oldest was grown and my youngest was a senior in high school before I entered my first relationship after divorce. My kids had only been used to one particular situation, and that was between me and their father. And when that chapter was done and closed, it became just me and them for a very long time. And there was only one request that my kids had for me inside of entering this new season of just the three of us. They asked, and I don't know how many kids would ask this, but mine did. They asked me if I would wait until they were out the house before I started dating. And me being the mother that I am, I complied with their wish. But it wasn't hard to comply, because I had my own reservations as well, because this world is crazy. And some of these men, sometimes you have to be very cautious and careful with them around your young ladies. So it wasn't really a request that I would fight, because the mere fact that they asked me, then that means there was something very heavy on their heart. And like I said, I didn't wrestle with it. I didn't mind complying with it, because if it made them comfortable with being out of the house for me to start dating, or for me to wait till I started dating, then that really wasn't a hard thing to do. And yes, I know that's a very mature move, but it's also a selfless move, because not many people take into account their kids when it's a relationship that they really want. They don't get the input of their kids. They just go for it because it's right there. But that takes a very mature person to think of the needs of their kids first. So for many months, I would simply tell them little things about the person that I was dating. They would ask questions when I would come back from dates, and just trying to get to know the person without formally meeting them. They would ask questions, and I was always upfront and honest in sharing the type of person that he was, or where we were going out to dinner, or where we were going out, period. I just would share little snippets and just answer whatever questions that they had, just to make them feel like they had a part in this whole thing, and they really did. I remember the first couple of times they were trying to figure out where I was coming from, and they would always say, "Wow, Mom, you look great," or "You look like you had a great time. Maybe you should go out more often." Because for me, once I go to work, a lot of times it's a wrap. When I come home, I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm trying to stay home, get comfortable, and eventually go to sleep. But inside of dating, you have to go out, you have to spend time together, you have to do things with each other. So they would just be so impressed when I would come home. "Wow, you look real good, Mom. You look like you had a great time tonight." And that was encouraging, because if I came home looking like I was sad or miserable, my kids probably would have said, "Maybe you don't need to go out with him no more." Because they are very upfront, they are very vocal, and they are tell it like it is children. So don't sugarcoat nothing with them, because they are going to return it with their honest opinion. But they will always say, "Yeah, you need to go out more. You need to get back to enjoying life. You've put us first for so long. You've given up so much to make sure that we had what we needed, but now we're grown and we're almost out the house. So it's time for you, Mom, to get back out there and get to living and enjoy doing things that you enjoy." And from what we can tell, he looks like he adds to your happiness, because you always come home smiling, or you laughing, or you're just upbeat and happy. So it looks like he adds to it. So obviously you enjoy going out. So maybe you should keep doing this. I think they was trying to be funny. But it wasn't until I felt like my kids were at ease and they were completely comfortable before I ever introduced him to my girls. It was a whole year and a half later before he ever met one of my children. And he met my youngest first. And if y'all know that youngest, she's a tough cookie. So he had to come full force with that one, because if he would have came any other way other than perfect, that little girl was gonna tell him and was gonna tell me later. But I already knew that they felt comfortable, so I know it wasn't gonna be a problem when they finally met. But the interaction that first time was very interesting, but I was very pleased. It was a little bit longer before he met my oldest, because she was always either at work or away at school. So it was a little bit longer before he even met her. But they had seen each other on FaceTime and stuff like that. But to meet in person, it was a little bit long. Now, even though I had known him probably 3 or 4 years prior to our first date, I still was not in a rush for him to meet my kids or my kids to meet him. And I definitely was not in a rush to post him all over my social media or nothing like that, or brag about being in a relationship and or being happy or none of that, because I feel like happiness is lived. You don't have to post about it. You don't have to prove to anybody that you're happy. When people see you out and about, they'll see your happiness. They'll be able to testify, "Oh, girl, you look happy." I don't have to make posts to say that I'm happy and where I am in life and I got to brag on this guy or whatever. And no, it is not because I'm ashamed of him in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed, because there really isn't anything to be ashamed and embarrassed of. He fine, He loved God. He loved me. He treats my kids like they're his. He treats us with the utmost respect. He's caring. He's genuine. He's a provider. I can go on, but I've never posted because I really don't have a point to prove. He's genuinely the type of person that I've always dreamed of or envisioned of having that type of person be a part of my life. I know sometimes we have to go through rough seasons or single seasons, whatever kind of seasons to get to that thing that we truly desire, but he's genuinely the type of person that I've envisioned and that I've actually prayed to God that one day I will have a chance to meet and date. And if God allows it to go even further, then that will be God's doing. He adds to me, I add to him. We push each other to be better people, to be better parents, because he's also a parent. We push each other just to be better than we were the day before. If it's one point that I want to stress, I would say for the ladies, but I guess this would be for everybody. Keep it private until it is permanent. And even then, be selective about what kind of noise you make, because everybody won't be genuinely happy for you. That's the unfortunate part to it. Everybody won't be happy. Ladies, your kids deserve the opportunity to see their mother being loved correctly. They deserve to see a man treating their mother correctly. Fellas, my brothers, your kids deserve to see a woman entreating you and loving you the way that you deserve to be treated. That's how your kids find peace or comfort in these new situations, especially if you have a close bond with your children. When they see that their parents are being treated well and loved and cared for and just respected, that is how our children find comfort in our new situation or our new season, I guess. But back to the original point that I started this video out with, I guess. I was very surprised and pleased at how the introductions went with my kids meeting my guy. That sounds funny to even say, but I was pleased at how they went. They seemed very comfortable. I don't know. I don't know really how to explain it. They just seem at peace. They are very happy for me because they see the way that he cares for me, he loves me, and just even the way that he treats them. There is never a need that he knows of that they have that he doesn't meet, and not many people will do that. They'll let you struggle along with your kids and not help, but they've never seen him do that. If they make mention that they need gas money, before you know it, they have it. If they need something at school, he's trying to figure out exactly what it is that they need, and before they know it, they have it. And I think that has brought so much comfort, and they feel comfortable in knowing that I'm in good hands in this season. Ladies, we have to slow down inside of our dating seasons and consider our children. No, it is not good to have any and everybody around your kids, especially your daughter. And sometimes we put our kids in situations that they have no control over. We put them in situations that they didn't ask to be in simply because we didn't consider them. As mothers, we have to see the bigger picture. We have to protect our kids from certain childhood traumas that we may have experienced, or we have knowledge of other kids experiencing. We have to protect our kids from that and be mindful of who we allow around them and who we allow to have access to them. Yes, ladies, and even my gentlemen too, my brothers. Yes, we all want to find that person that we're going to spend our forever with or the rest of our lives with. But make sure we are using wisdom. This decision is not just for us. This decision impacts our children too. Our daughters watch everything that we do. They pattern themselves after us. They watch what we do. They watch how we dress. They listen to how we speak. Our daughters pick up everything that they see us do. They see us as their role models. Well, at least they should see their mothers as role models. They tend to dress like us. They pattern themselves so much after us. So make sure, mothers, that you're always setting a great example for your kids, not just your daughters, but your kids in general. Fathers, brothers, gentlemen, make sure you are always setting an example to your son that teaches them to treat people or treat young ladies nicely, honor them, respect them, love them. Make sure that's the example that you're setting for your sons. One thing I've noticed, our children, like I said, they watch everything that we do. And even inside of watching everything that we do, they also tend to date like we do. So ladies, if our daughters or our children see us dating less than what we deserve as women, then they tend to lower their standards or lower the bar when they're out dating. And I know this channel is geared towards overcoming, and most of what I share, not all of what I share, is just trying to show you the things that one can overcome after divorce. But the page is not solely set on just talking about divorce, because that's not the only thing in life that I've had to overcome. But I think with this video in particularly, I just want to encourage people again that there is life beyond divorce. I used to think that I would never, and in fact, I even said that I wouldn't date again, but it was so hard for me to let down certain or let go of certain feelings or emotions that I had lived through. It was hard to let that go. So when the season of dating came about, it was so hard for me to even accept that, the fact that there's somebody out there that genuinely likes me and at this point loves me, because the effects of divorce left me with these feelings that nobody was going to love me, nobody was going to care for me, nobody was going to treat me right. So it made it difficult when I first started out dating, that I had these walls up, and to an extent the walls are still up, not as much, but just the effects of the feeling that one is left with when you go through divorce, it really made me be hard on myself. I didn't see the value in me just because somebody else didn't see the value. Then I started losing the focus of my own value, and no longer seeing that God had a purpose for my life beyond marriage and beyond divorce, that there was still a purpose. It may not have all played out like I envisioned it, but nevertheless, God was still in control of my life, and it gave me some hope that there is somebody out there that knows how to love you in the way that you need to be loved, somebody to care for you, to treat you like you deserve to be treated, and just value you and respect you. Divorce, and when you're hard on yourself, when you're examining why a divorce even took place, that sometimes is hard to get past when you start in a new season of dating. It's not impossible, but it does make it a little bit harder, because you're steady faced with everything that you possibly did wrong in the previous situation, and how could somebody love you. And it could just be the way that I examine, but it may be somebody else out there that may feel like nobody's ever gonna love me after this, because I was told previously what nobody's ever going to love you, or nobody's ever going to be this, nobody's ever going to treat you this way. And that's not true. God has that person for you. It may take some time to get through them. You may have to go through some bad seasons, or some single seasons, but don't give up. In that single season, make sure you are working on you. You are dealing with those things that God has showed you about you, because when he shows you, that means he's ready to help deliver you from those things. Now, you can't ignore those things. You have to deal with them face on. And in that single season, you have nothing but time on your hands to work on you. Don't let your past mistakes, past failures make you feel like it's never going to happen for you. Nobody's ever going to be this. God has forgotten about you. God doesn't want you, because no, that's not true. God wants you. If he didn't want you, you wouldn't be here. The mere fact that you get up every day means that God still has a purpose for your life. We don't know the plan that God has for us, but he has a plan. Do not let past mistakes, past failures, past relationships make you count yourself out, because you are worth it. You are valuable. Don't lose your value just because somebody else didn't see the value in you. You are valuable to God. And if anybody's opinion of you should matter, it should be the opinion of what God says or has about you. So I always like to encourage, like I said, this is not solely for ladies, because I know men go through divorce, women divorce men, and men feel some type of way. But for any of you that has ever struggled with dating after divorce, let God lead you into that new season. But make sure, this is my number one rule, my number one principle, make sure you have healed, you have dealt with those things in you before you enter dating. Because if you are not healed, you are going to take past hurts, past trauma, and past whatever, it could be abuse or whatever you went through, you could take that into your next season, and you could destroy a person that only was set out to make you happy. So just be careful. Make sure you deal with those past hurts. Allow God to heal you. Allow God to show you how to let those walls go or let them down. Once you feel a level of comfort in your new season, don't be afraid to let them go. All right, I'll be back with more on this one, because there were some more points that I wanted to make, but I'll be back to share more. God bless y'all.